Visszatekintve a 20 évvel ezelőtti világgazdaságra és világkereskedelemre, az semmiben nem hasonlít ahhoz, amiben ma élünk. Akkor még egy egyközpontú világrendben éltünk, most pedig egy többközpontú világrendben élünk, és ennek az új világrendnek az egyik tartóoszlopa a Kínai Népköztársaság. Az az ország, amely ma már meghatározza világgazdasági és világpolitikai folyamatok menetét. Magyarország mindig is baráti kapcsolatokat ápolt Kínával, amelynek szilárd politikai alapjai voltak. Mindig is az egy Kína elvét vallottuk.
This is my video update on this Friday, midday, May the 10th. Let's talk about some news. And how about that speech from Viktor Orban with Xi Jinping standing next to him? Now we are living in a multipolar world order, and one of the pillars of this new world order is the People's Republic of China, the country that is now setting the course of the world economy and world politics. The country that is now setting the course of the world economy and world politics. Whew. Ursula is going to be upset with you, Viktor Orban, because Ursula, she wants to start a trade war with China. She is going to call Orban up and she is going to tell Orban, Viktor, we've got tools. You better take back that statement of praise for China because we've got tools. We've got tools for you, Hungary, and we've got tools that we're going to use against China. We've got tools, tatters and tools. That is what Ursula is going to tell Orban. Man, is Ursula going to be upset. Janet Yellen, she's going to be upset. She's going to be very, very upset with this statement from Viktor Orban. Joe Biden doesn't know what the hell is going on, but blinky blinkin, he is going to be very upset with Viktor Orban, embarrassed and upset, because Blinken was in China just 2 weeks ago delivering threats and ultimatums. China, if you do not shape up, if you do not get in line, then we are going to isolate you and we are going to place sanctions on you. That is the message that Blinken delivered to China just 2 weeks ago. China, you better stop sending those shovels and washing machines to Russia. You better stop funding Putin's war machine or else. Those were the threats that Blinken delivered to China. And now you have Orban, the Prime Minister of Hungary, saying that China is now setting the course of the world economy and world politics. What else did Orban say? Ladies and gentlemen, the president's visit was particularly necessary at a time when war is raging in our neighborhood and the world is wondering whether to continue this war or make efforts towards peace. Our voice, the voice of Hungary, is a lonely voice in Europe. Europe today is on the side of war, with the only exception being Hungary, which is calling for an immediate ceasefire and peace negotiations and supporting all international efforts towards peace, including the Chinese Peace Initiative presented by President Xi Jinping. We Hungarians are convinced that there is no solution to this conflict, to this war on the battlefield. On the battlefield, there is only death and destruction. We are convinced that the solution is at the negotiating table through ceasefire and peace talks. So Orban saying that he supports the Chinese peace formula, the Chinese peace initiative. Zelensky's going to be very upset with Orban. Podolyak, what is this statement from Prime Minister of Hungary that he does that he supports China peace formula, but he doesn't support my peace plan? Podolyak, I will not buy homes in Budapest. This is how I will punish Prime Minister of Hungary. No real estate purchases in Budapest. Yeah, Zelensky's going to be plenty upset with Orban. But you know, Orban, what makes him such a good leader, such a good politician, is that he can see 5 years into the future and adjust his politics and his policies in the present. This is what many people in Budapest told me when I visited Budapest. They said that Orban, he can see what's going to happen 3, 4, 5 years in the future, and he can make decisions today which will follow the trajectory of where things are going in the future. I'm trying to get that butterfly on video. These things are fast. So yeah, Orban sees where things are going. He sees exactly where the world is moving towards, a multipolar world. He sees that China is becoming the most important country in this multipolar world. And he also knows what is happening with Project Ukraine and what the end result will be with the conflict in Ukraine, which is a Russian victory. And that is why Orban is calling for negotiations and a ceasefire. He has known this for the last year, that Russia is going to win the conflict in Ukraine. The only country, not the only country in the European Union, now Slovakia as well. Hungary and Slovakia within the European Union are the two countries that are calling for negotiations and a ceasefire and peace, because they understand that this is the only way to save what is going to be left of Ukraine. And Orban is confident. He is confident in his vision of the future. That is why he can say these things today. He's confident knowing that we are indeed in a multipolar world. He's confident knowing that China is the great power in this multipolar world, along with other great powers, one of which is going to be the United States. And the United States can play a very constructive role in the multipolar world. Russia as well, India also, maybe Brazil, definitely Brazil. Orban understands this. And Orban is confident in the outcome of Project Ukraine. That's why he can say all these things, because he knows exactly where things are moving towards. If Russia was losing and BRICS was falling apart, believe me, Orban would not be making these statements. So anyway, that was Orban. And let's now talk about Project Ukraine, because we are getting reports that Russia may be moving towards Kharkiv any day now. And these are reports that are coming out of Ukrainian sources, Ukraine military in the Kharkov region. They are saying that a Russia advance into Kharkiv is imminent. Whether to believe these reports, I don't know. Maybe yes, maybe no. But yesterday, Russia was softening up Kharkov, specifically the Volchansk region, which is about 70 kilometers away from Kharkov. The Russians sent dozens of FABs into Volchansk and the Volchansky district. This is according to a Twitter X post from Yeroman. So Russia's definitely using those fabs to soften up the Kharkov region, the Volchansk area, which could mean that we will be seeing a Russian military advance in that area. Now, Zelenskyy, he said the other day that Russia does indeed have the initiative in the East and the West, but with more weapons and with more military aid, he is confident that Ukraine can prevail. According to the Associated Press, Ukraine's Zelenskyy says Russia has the initiative in the East, but new Western aid is on the way. But a massive new U.S. military aid package is coming, Zelenskyy said, and it will turn the tide. This is what he said when Roberta Metsola was visiting Kiev of the European Parliament. Quote, with an increase in the supply of weapons, we will be able to stop them in the East. As of now, they seized the initiative there, Zelenskyy said. Yep. It's always about more weapons and more money and more wonder weapons and new wonder weapons. And if we just get this, or if we just get that, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, then we can stop Russia, then we can defeat Russia. They're always moving the goalposts. You just got 61 billion. Allegedly, supposedly you got 61 billion, or the military-industrial complex. They got paid, but you're getting something, Zelenskyy. You're going to be getting something. Matthew Miller of the State Department, he said yesterday that another package will be delivered to Ukraine. A big military package will be delivered to Ukraine, but it will not be enough. It's never enough. It never, ever will be enough because Ukraine cannot win. But Zelenskyy is always asking for more and more. Just 2 weeks ago, the 61 billion package was approved, and you actually did get a delivery of weapons, but it's never enough. So there are reports saying that Zelenskyy's name was removed from the wanted list, from the Russia wanted list. This is according to the Kiev Independent. Zelenskyy's wanted notice disappears from the Russian Interior Ministry website. President Zelenskyy's entry on a criminal wanted list published online by the Russian Interior Ministry has been taken down. Russian media reported on May 9th. On May 4th, Zelenskyy had appeared on a list of alleged criminals in an entry that said he was being sought under an article of the Criminal Code without providing further details. I haven't had time to research this or check this out, but this is what the Kiev Independent is saying. Zelenskyy's name has disappeared from the wanted list. That's an interesting bit of news. If this is indeed true, then that is very interesting. I wonder if someone in Russia's Interior Ministry put Zelenskyy's name on the list, and then someone in Putin's administration called up the Interior Ministry and said, "Bro, what are you doing? we don't want Zelenskyy to go. We don't want Zelenskyy to go at all. This guy's the most incompetent opponent we could ever wish for. So just remove his name from the list, and don't put his name on the list ever again." Right? I don't know. I don't know if his name was removed. I haven't had time to check this out. But anyway, interesting if it has been removed from the wanted list. So yesterday I talked about the Lithuanian Prime Minister. This was actually in my Clown World segment, where she mentioned that Lithuania could and should send soldiers as trainers to Ukraine so they can train the Ukraine military inside Ukraine. And she thought this was a really good idea. And The Guardian, yesterday, they ran an article, I guess from an interview with the foreign minister of Lithuania. What's the dude's name? Landsbergis or something like that. Anyway, the foreign minister of Lithuania, who's a super duper uber Russia hater. He does not like Russia. The foreign minister of Lithuania. Boy, does he not like Russia. Anyway, he said to The Guardian that this is absolutely a good idea to send Lithuanian soldiers as trainers to Ukraine. And more countries should do the same. This is according to the foreign minister of Lithuania. Let me find the article from The Guardian. Western military trainers could go to Ukraine, Lithuania minister says. Gabrielis Landsbergis also backs David Cameron and Emmanuel Macron on standing up to Putin. Yeah, this guy always talks about standing up to Putin, the foreign minister of Lithuania. He's got it really bad for Putin. The funny thing is that if the foreign minister of Lithuania actually came face to face with Putin, you know that he would wet himself. You know it. Anyway, here's what he said. Our troops have been training Ukrainians in Ukraine before the war, and we've been doing that for many years. So returning to this tradition might be quite doable, Landsbergis said. This could be a first step in President Macron's initiative. He said a proposal to train Ukrainians inside their own country was more practical than the training taking place on the territory of NATO members. Why is it more practical? What difference does it make where you train them? But Lithuania is being very clever, right? We'll call them trainers. We'll call them trainers. That's how we'll get NATO troops into Ukraine. So clever, Lithuania. I'm sure you're going to be fooling those Russians by calling those soldiers trainers. Yeah, I'm sure the Russians will be fooled. Oh, they're just trainers. Don't worry about all those NATO troops entering Ukraine. They're just trainers. President Putin. Oh, yeah. They're just trainers. Oh, thanks. Thanks, Shoigu. If they're just trainers, then we're not going to worry about it. Yep, Mr. Landsbergis, you're going to definitely fool Russia with that one. So Donald Tusk, he was giving statements to the media the other day, and he took a question from a 10-year-old girl who got credentials to go to this event. I'm not sure where this was exactly, but she got press credentials to go to this event and to ask questions to Donald Tusk and this 10-year-old girl who I imagine is going to be a much better journalist than any of the adult journalists. She asked Donald Tusk about NATO and Ukraine, and Donald Tusk said, NATO today is helping as much as it can. Without NATO's help, Ukraine would not have been able to defend itself for so long. And then Tusk said, well, and there are some troops there. I mean, soldiers. There are some soldiers there, observers, engineers. They're helping them out, he added. So Tusk's admission to a 10-year-old journalist that NATO does indeed have troops in Ukraine. I'm shocked. I'm absolutely shocked. Who would have ever guessed that NATO had troops in Ukraine? I can't believe it. I am absolutely stunned. Let's go up this way. So that was Donald Tusk's admission from yesterday. And we have from Bloomberg an article from John Stavridis, who was the former NATO commander. I believe. James Stavridis, not John. James Stavridis, a retired U.S. Navy admiral, former Supreme Allied Commander of NATO, and Dean Emeritus of the Fletcher School of Law and Diplomacy at Tufts University. Oh, wow, he's a Dean Emeritus. Wow, he must be a smart guy, Mr. James Stavridis. So what did this smart Dean Emeritus have to say about NATO and Russia? Bloomberg, Putin's next target may be the NATO lake. Coming exercises in the Baltic Sea will give the alliance a chance to work Finland and Sweden into its complex web of defenses. So in this article, former Admiral, Allied Supreme Commander of NATO and Dean Emeritus at Tufts University, Stavridis, he is saying that if NATO comes into conflict with Russia, well then target number one is going to be Kaliningrad, because NATO has to secure the Baltic Sea, or as Liz Truss calls it, the Black Sea. The NATO lake, as Stavridis is referring to it, a glance at a map shows that is largely, but not completely true. The coastline has a couple of slivers of Russian territory. The rest of the coastal littoral is in NATO hands. Sweden, Finland, Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, Poland, Germany, and Denmark. The retired U.S. Navy admiral and former Supreme Allied Commander of NATO wrote, "Look for NATO to use its Baltic Lake to put pressure on tiny Kaliningrad, which acts as a geographic wedge between NATO's Baltic states, Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania, and the rest of the alliance," Stavridis wrote. "In the event of war, Kaliningrad will need to be neutralized, so Russian land forces, likely operating through Moscow's vassal state Belarus, cannot take control of the critical Suwalki Gap." You would think that as one-time Supreme NATO commander, he would know that Kaliningrad and Belarus and Russia, they have all kinds of nukes, huh? So I don't know about neutralizing Kaliningrad. I don't know if that's going to really help out the Baltic states and Sweden and Finland. Oh man, these guys love their war games, huh? Their fantasy fiction war games. Anyway, that is what Stavridis said. Neutralize Kaliningrad. They do have a fixation on Kaliningrad. Not quite at the level of Crimea, but the collective West, they definitely are fixated on Kaliningrad. Never going to happen. Never going to happen. You are never going to get Kaliningrad. Believe me. Never going to get Crimea either. Not going to get anything. The way it looks is you're going to lose, not get. But anyway, that is Stavridis writing in Bloomberg. So we have this story from Fox News talking about Biden and a possible Biden impeachment. House GOP drafting Biden impeachment articles over Israel aid cutoff threat. The House has no choice but to impeach President quid pro Joe Biden, says Representative Corey Mills. Right. So you're not going to impeach Biden over the quid pro quo. That's not going to happen, right? You're not going to impeach Biden for any of the other stuff that he has done. Nope. You're not going to impeach him for any of the other stuff he has done. You want to impeach him because he is threatening, if you even want to believe it, that he's going to cut off aid to Israel, and not even all the aid to Israel. We're talking about artillery supplies that the US probably doesn't even have. That is what he is talking about. This is all freaking theater. It's all theater. So that's how you impeach Biden, huh? Forget about everything else and go after him because he's pretending to want to cut off artillery shells to Israel, because he's pretending that if Israel goes into Rafah, well, then they've crossed his pretend red line. It's nonsense, man. It is nonsense. It's all uniparty theater. That is what is going on here. So there are reports that Zaluzhny is in London. I don't know if that's true. I saw a couple of videos of Zaluzhny looking pretty relaxed, signing some stuff. I don't know what he was signing. But I couldn't confirm from the video that he was in London, but he looked pretty happy wherever he was. And Zelenskyy yesterday, he made it official that Zaluzhny is indeed the ambassador to the UK. So I don't know if he's already in the UK or if he's on his way. I don't know if these videos of Zaluzhny were of Zaluzhny in London or where they were recorded. But Zelenskyy did make it official. He has appointed Zaluzhny as the UK envoy. So I guess the UK now has 2 Ukrainian ambassadors, Reznikov, the former defense minister, and Zaluzhny. Because Zelenskyy, he really wants to see Zaluzhny leave Ukraine, because Zaluzhny is his #1 threat. Even though Zaluzhny, he doesn't seem like he's very interested in becoming president of Ukraine, but you do have the alliance of Zaluzhny, Klitschko, and Poroshenko. And Poroshenko, he has said that he wants to be president of Ukraine. He has not hidden the fact that he wants to be president of Ukraine. So it looks like Zelenskyy has finally been able to get Zaluzhny to leave Kiev. That's how it looks. We'll see. We will see. And let's talk clown world. Yeah. Let's talk some clown worlds. And we will start with Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton. Oh boy, where was this? Morning Joe, I think. MSNBC. Hillary Clinton had another deplorables moment. She seems to be having many deplorable moments. So she was on MSNBC talking about the student protests, Israel, Gaza, Rafah, Columbia University, all the universities. And I believe Hillary is a professor at Columbia. Yes, she is, along with Vicki Newland. Is Newland considered a professor at Columbia? Anyway, Hillary Clinton, she criticized pro-Palestinian protests. And she said that many young people she's spoken to don't know very much at all about the history of the Middle East, or frankly, about history in many areas of the world. Well, I mean, you're a professor at Columbia, Hillary. Isn't it your job to teach the young about history? Or maybe you don't know anything about history either. Or maybe you're not even really teaching. You're just kind of there as a deep state asset. I don't know. But she basically called young people deplorables, right? That's basically what she was doing there. They don't know anything about history. She said something like propaganda is not a substitute for for history or something like that. Basically saying that all the young people have been propagandized in their views on Israel and Gaza. Boy, the way Hillary's going, there's going to be no one that supports her or likes her, because at least the young, that young group of people that she laid into, they generally liked her. That was generally a demographic that supported Hillary Clinton. But after these comments, they're not going to like Hillary much at all. Let me play you some of what she said, but I'll probably play it at 2 times the speed.
I have had many conversations, as you have had, with a lot of young people over the last many months now. And you're right, they don't know very much at all about the history of the Middle East, or frankly about history in many areas of the world, including in our own country. But with respect to the Middle East, they don't know that under the bringing together of the Israelis and the Palestinians by my husband, the then Israeli Prime Minister Ehud Barak, the then head of the Palestinian Liberation Organization, then the Palestinian Authority, Yasser Arafat, an offer was made to the Palestinians for a state on 96% of the existing territory occupied by the Palestinians, with 4% of Israel to be given to reach 100% of the amount of territory that was hoped for. And this offer was made, and if Yasser Arafat had accepted it, there would have been a Palestinian state now for about 24 years.
All right, so that was Hillary. And from Hillary, we can now talk about Ursula. And Ursula celebrating Europe Day. Did you guys know that yesterday was Europe Day? I had no idea. I had no clue that yesterday was Europe Day. But yeah, yesterday was Europe Day. A nice made-up holiday. On Europe Day, we honor Robert Schumann's vision of a united, peaceful, and thriving Europe. We celebrate the people who built our union and those who keep building it every day. This day belongs to all Europeans, the dreamers and the builders. Together, we are stronger. Europe Day. Happy Europe Day. Nonsense, man. Pathetic. They actually made up a holiday to spite Russia. Despite Victory Day, May 9th, they actually decided to make up a Europe Day holiday. I think it's been around for a couple of years now. But the reason that they have Europe Day is because of May 9th, Victory Day, right? Yeah, we want to celebrate Robert Schumann's vision of a united, peaceful Europe. Yeah, it's really peaceful. It's a real peaceful and united Europe, isn't it? Let's send more weapons to Ukraine. Real peaceful Europe, Ursula. Oh, boy. Tatters, I tell you. They're using washing machine chips in their fighter jets. But today we celebrate Europe Day. Mr. Orban, we've got tools. Miss Giorgia Meloni, we've got tools. Europe Day, where we steal the frozen assets of foreign countries in order to create a stable Europe. Europe Day. And so yesterday in my clown world, I talked about the worm that RFK Jr. was talking about, that he had this parasite worm in his brain. And I joked around about it and said, because Robert Kennedy Jr., he said that he can eat, in a Twitter X post, he said he could eat 5 parasite worms and still beat Biden and Trump in a debate. And I cracked a joke saying that the parasite worm could beat Joe Biden in a debate. Right? That was my joke. That the parasite would be able to defeat Professor Biden. Well, the Babylon Bee, they put out an article, satire article. It's the Babylon Bee. But they were joking around and they said, dead worm found in RFK Jr.'s brain, already polling higher than Biden in 11 states. And the dead brain worm is at 32%. Joe Biden is at 29%. Oh, man. Anyway, that's the video, everybody. The Duran.locals.com. We are on Rumble, ODYSEE, BitChute, Telegram, Rockfin, and Twitter X. And go to the Duran shop. Pick up some limited edition merch. The link is in the description box down below. Take care.